Today I have a very simple message for you. Do not play around in this job market. Don't think that there are a plethora of opportunities. Don't think that you're going to get multiple job offers like this was 2018 or 2019. Don't think that jobs come by all the time and you could just turn one down and get another one relatively easily. Don't take any risks. Don't take any gambles. If you get a job offer and you are in need of a job, absolutely take it. Probably don't ask a whole lot of questions either. Don't go too crazy with negotiating. This is not the time to get the most amazing deal possible. This is not the time to hold out for your dream job or an opportunity of a lifetime. This is the time to get a job in which you can stop the bleeding, you can stop draining out your savings, hopefully stop adding unnecessary expenses to credit cards, and definitely don't take any more money out of your 401k or other retirement vehicles. Because if someone reaches out to you and gives you a job offer, you go ahead and take it. Now, obviously, we've gone over these kind of stories in the past couple of weeks, and just because you get a job offer, especially a verbal one, doesn't mean you're going to get a written job offer. And just because you get a written job offer doesn't mean that you'll actually get an opportunity to start. And even if you start, it doesn't mean you're going to get an opportunity to work there past your 90-day trial period. A lot of things can go wrong between your applying for a job and celebrating your 2-year anniversary at an organization. And I get that. But at the same time, at least see how far you can go with a job offer if you are given one, because that is something that is very rare. As some of you guys in the comment section have said, that's like winning the lottery. That's like getting a golden ticket. So while I do realize that you might not be at that job that just gave you the offer 2 years from now due to no choice of your own, at least give it a shot. And then maybe if you get another job offer that is a little bit better, you can switch gears, you can go and accept it, even if you've been there a couple of weeks, because we know from reading everyone's stories and everyone's testimonies, even just being there a couple of weeks, you're going to be one of the first ones on the chopping block if there are major layoffs. They're going to get rid of people who've been there a long time, making a lot of money relative to everyone else who are not CEOs or something like that. Normal worker bees making too much money for the corporation to handle. And then they're going to lay off the people who just got that job. So I'm not saying give this company your undying loyalty till the end of your days. All I'm saying is if you do not have a job and someone offers you a job, you take that job, because you do not want to, let's go with the PG version, fool around and find out, because that is a very tough lesson to learn and you do not want to learn it the hard way. And these are not the times to be learning these kind of lessons the hard way. You don't want to do it. And you don't have to trust me. We have someone's story that I'm going to share with you today who fooled around, found out, and this is why I'm telling you guys to not play around in this job market, and that a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. And we start with Tanya, who says, I took a calculated risk, and man, am I bad at math. 2 weeks ago, I was staring down an unemployed person's dream scenario, 2 potential jobs. One was a short-term contract with an offer in hand. The other a full-time role, but I still had one final interview to clear. I took the risk. I turned down the contract for the chance at full-time employment. I walked into that interview ready to nail it. I'd skilled up, brought proof of my work, pitched ideas for expansion, and even explained the limitations of the trial tools I'd used and how I'd scale my work with the company's full data set. I met the team, clicked with my would-be manager, and left thinking, this is in the bag. Tanya starts off with a very cute headline, very nice opening statement. I took a calculated risk, and man, am I bad at math. This is not the time to take calculated risks. This is not the time to take any kind of risk, even if you think they're calculated. Because I don't even think that turning down a job offer because you're going to nail the interview is a calculated risk. Not with everything we know, not in this job market, because even if you do knock the interview out of the park, you don't really know the inner workings of the company. You don't know if there's an internal candidate that they already have selected that they're going to move into that role, and they just have to go through the processes because of their corporate policy. They just have to go through the motions because they're getting stipends from the government. They have to just post and entertain interviews because the government is counting on them to add to their jobs created number, which is really just creating posts and maybe interviewing people. You don't know all the ins and outs. So you could have the best interview of your life. You could feel like you click with the manager, everything was perfect, and still not land the job. So I don't think that's a calculated risk to turn down something in favor of an unknown thing that you don't even know how that's going to work out. Especially if you've already at least gotten an offer. And I get the fact that you're gonna want a full-time job. And like I said earlier, I'm not saying that you have to stay at this job forever. I mean, this is already a short-term contract, but you have the offer. And even if the interview with the full-time position went well, I mean, we know there's 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds of interviews sometimes. Seems like most times, but I'll just say sometimes. So you might work out a 3-month short-term contract and before you even get an offer, even if everything goes well, before you even get an offer at the other company. So you might not even have to resign in disgrace or whatever. You might just work out your 3-4 month contract, if it's short term, I don't know how short, before you would even get a job offer. So that's a good reason to take it. The fact that they have made you an offer, yeah, it's an employer's market. So don't give them any reason to regret it. Don't ask for extra time to think about it. Don't go crazy in negotiating. You know, this is not the time for all that. When the ball was in our court, yes, negotiate, play hardball, because you had 2 or 3 offers to choose from. You just did. If you knew what you were doing, you had some experience. Now, it's as rare as finding a needle in a haystack to find any kind of job, even if it's not a perfect job, even if it's not a full-time, long-term contract or long-term full-time employment. You take the job, especially if it's a short-term contract, you work out the contract and you figure out from there. And if you get the full-time job, okay, then you can make a decision. But you're making a decision here between a job that you have and a job that you hope that you have. And hope is not a strategy. You got to take the job offer in hand. Tanya continues. 2 weeks later, radio silence. No offer. I get it. Urgency means different things to different people, but dang, it stung. This time though, I handled things differently. Yes, I sent the polite follow-up email to the company, but I went further. I reached out to the recruiter I turned down, the one who'd warned me about the exact risk, and served myself a giant slice of humble pie. I thanked them for their advice, admitted my hubris, and owned the mistake. I learned from this, I told them. I won't repeat it. Will the recruiter work with me again? Maybe, maybe not. And they'd be justified either way. But here's the thing. During our screening, I'd said, I admit my mistakes, learn from them, and don't repeat them. That email, proof I meant it. Actions over words. So fellow job seekers, if my faceplant helps you, an offer in hand is gold. Never ghost recruiters, even if they ghost you. Follow up, own your mistakes. Bridges are worth keeping. Sincerely, your fellow job seeker, who's now much better at math. And unfortunately, I think this ties into the lack of awareness about this job market. Now, if Tanya is a PMP certified project manager, I don't think she's 19 years old. I don't think she's 22 years old. And in her screenshot there, I don't know if you noticed it, but she has red hair, which is a choice for your professional networking profile. Not a choice. I mean, I don't have any hair, but if I had hair, it definitely would not be red on LinkedIn unless you want to get left on red by staffing companies and by hiring managers. I think that she's too far along in her career to be making this mistake. I feel like this is basic life advice that, like I said earlier, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. She's to wait out on the potential, the opportunity when you need a job. Now, if you have a job, you're chilling, you love the job, you're good with it. Someone comes along with a job offer, you could say, I don't really need that. Or if you're taking a gap year, but if that's what you decide to do and you have enough savings, you're not gonna have to touch your 401k, you're good to go and you don't wanna work, you need a mental health break. All right, well, hopefully you've saved up for long enough to have that year or two runway in savings. And then that's a different story. But if you're someone who is saying, I need a job, I don't understand why you would turn down a job offer, hoping for the other job to work out for reasons I've already said. And then she was a victim of ghosting. Maybe she thought people on YouTube, this guy on labor gains is always complaining about people getting ghosted. And maybe she thought, yeah, that could happen to some of these other bums. But I don't know what you heard about me, but I'm a mother bleeping PMP, and that ain't gonna happen to me. So, I don't know, I think there's some cockiness, there's some arrogance, and it's good to learn lessons, right? But the best way to learn lessons are from other people's mistakes. The toughest way to learn lessons is from our own mistakes. So hopefully if you're watching this video, you can learn from other people's mistakes and not have to learn them the hard way from your own mistakes, because it's much, much more difficult and much more painful that way. You've not only maybe burned a bridge with that company for the contract, because that could be your foot in the door. Maybe it's a short-term contract and maybe they do fire you at the end or let you go or don't renew, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the 3-month, 6-month contract. Or maybe everything still clicks really well. Maybe they move you to a different team that maybe you buy with that manager better, and maybe you can work there for a few years or as long as you want. And you just don't know. And now you not only burn the bridge basically with that company that you turned down, now with this recruiter actually helped you get a job offer. Isn't that what everybody looking for a job wants? Like I said, it might not be perfect, but they got you a job offer. And now they put all that effort into it, and they see that even if they do their job, they deliver the goodies and bring you a job offer, you might still turn that down. So I don't know if I was a recruiter with so many people looking for a job right now, I can basically handpick my clients that I'm going to send out into the world to apply for companies that I've built relationships with. I don't know if I would work with a person who I landed the job for them and they reject it for a job that they didn't even wind up getting. Now, I think the recruiter can understand and can relate if there was 2 job offers on the table and both of them were pretty good and she's made a decision. But to turn down the job offer that the recruiter helped them get and they didn't have any other option, they weren't staying at their current job because she needed a job. They didn't have another job lined up because she hadn't gone through that process or even that interview yet. She's at the very beginning. I don't think that they're going to work with them again. So I agree with her retrospective after everything went down that a job offer in hand is absolutely gold. And please, 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 if you're watching this video, do not turn down a job offer. Take it, analyze it, see what happens. It might not be a forever job, but don't just assume you're going to get a new job. And if you're working with a staffing agency or recruiter and they do land you a job, if you just turn that down and it's not like you're saying your old company and it's not like you have another job offer, I don't think they're gonna work with you again because there's too many other people that they can work with. But let me know what you think of this story down in the comments below. And if you have some extra time, YouTube thinks you'll get a lot of value out of the video on screen now. And until next time, remember, times are tough, but so are you. Talk to you later.